Hello, and thank you for joining me once again at List Home, where I like to play with art stuff. I'm continuing my colour and chat in this book by Marjorie Sarnat, African Glamour, and I've now reached the stage where I need to do the background, and I decided after watching Sandy from Colour Creatively doing one of her colorings where she uses soft pastels as a background, I decided to use my watercolor pencils as a quick underpainting or layer for this background. You've just seen me take my glasses off because I find it quite difficult to see with my specs on. Please excuse the cord that you can see that is actually attached to my earbuds. I'm busy listening to an audiobook as I'm coloring this. I have discovered that my limitation is not being able to actually speak while I color. I simply can't multitask like that. So I listen to audiobooks, and the book that I was listening to as I was coloring this picture was Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. I had first been listening to the final book in the Seven Sisters series, which I finished before I started this. So it's very interesting to me as I listen to audiobooks and I color, when I take out pictures again and I look at things I've colored in a month or in a year or whatever, I can almost always remember which book it was that I was listening to as I did that. So there's a bit of an association to it. I wonder if any of you have read Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. It was very well written and I think quite pertinent to Americans, less so to me, but I think it spoke about immigrants in all sorts of countries and feelings of displacement, etc., which I've not had to deal with, but my son has because he emigrated to a different country, so I've heard about how it has been for him. Do any of you in your colouring also do underpainting or first layers in something that is a bit quicker, that you can coat the paper, as it were, first and then do a bit of shading or something above? I'm finding that this is quite a nice way to colour, because although it's lovely to spend time and do a fantastic colouring that can take you a month or more on one page, for my personality, that ends up in a lot of frustration because I get bogged down with all the books and the uncoloured pictures that I have sitting waiting for me. So I prefer something that works just a little bit faster. So now I've decided to zoom in a little bit more and I'm activating this small section. I'm just using my Kuretake Zig water brush and going over this with water. I do like it, kind of feels almost magical when the dull pencil color comes to life once the water is added. Did any of you use, when you were little, those magic books where you just added water and the color came? I bought some very nice Melissa and Doug ones for my grandchildren and they love it. I've always found them sort of magical and such fun. So now I was thinking about what else I felt like chatting to you guys about, and I always like to add something that can maybe be a bit uplifting or something like that to talk about, as well as simply coloring. This is not a tutorial video, it's a color and chat. So today I felt like talking about the truths about being kind, some of the truths about being kind. And you may find it a little bit surprising to hear that being kind isn't just good for the other person, it's good for you as well. I'm not sure if that would make you feel skeptical, but there is some scientific evidence to show that living up to the adage of doing unto others as you'd have them do for you is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Some of the medical things it does is it lowers your blood pressure, it improves your mood, and it acts as a natural antidepressant by boosting the serotonin levels in your brain. I've definitely found that to be true. Living in South Africa, there's an enormous amount of poverty, and we very, very often get people ringing our doorbells looking for handouts. And it can be somewhat daunting because sometimes you can go and make somebody a sandwich and then find it lying in the garden afterwards. It's just been thrown away because the person was obviously wanting money for drugs or something. But I do find greeting the person at the door as a human being and seeing them as a person and asking how they are, and when it's cold, offering a cup of coffee if I can, is showing acts of kindness. It doesn't always have to be financial, just seeing somebody as a person. So there are various things that you can do to stay in the right frame of mind. And what do you think those things are? Because being kind isn't always easy. Sometimes you just want to grit your teeth and grouse at the world. And there are really some people that it's very tough to be kind to. How can you change your approach to life to be as kind as you can? So, thinking about the mini habits I chatted about in a previous video, let's think about these 3 truths to remember when you think and when you're tempted to be unkind. Remember what you can control and what you can't. It's a fact of life that other people can be rude, thoughtless, irritating, and even just plain mean. Everyone has opinions, and some of them have opinions that you don't agree with. You can't change or control any of that, but you can control how you react. Kindness is always the best option for you and for the other guy. Take a deep breath, count to 10, bite back that retort or the put down that you were going to say, and practice being kind, and soon you'll find it second nature. I have had 2 instances where I've had many more than 2 instances, but there are 2 that I feel like sharing with you today. One is when I was teaching and I got what my colleague called a 10-screen message from a parent, and my reaction was to reply in the same vein, and he said, no, Liz, put it down, don't even reply, sleep on it and reply tomorrow, just saying I hear your problems, or I hear your issues, or I hear you, and I will see what I can do to deal with the situation. Simple as that, and leave it, and then deal with things, and ended up with me and the parent and the child getting on fairly well. We were very different people, but that ended in a positive way. Other ways are, I've got a very difficult situation that I deal with a friend that is a substance abuser, and I find that very difficult to deal with, and there I really have to practice being kind, because like depression is a mental illness, so is substance abuse, and one often wishes to say hurtful things because it's so annoying and so frustrating to deal with. But just practicing being kind and less is more in what you say is very helpful and better for me, as well as the other person. So another thing to remember is that anger doesn't help. If you react with anger, it doesn't do anything to resolve a bad situation. Anger makes you feel terrible. I often want to cry when I get really angry. It's likely to escalate things, and it won't get you the result you want. Even worse, anger can lead to all sorts of physical problems, from headaches to high blood pressure, sleep problems, and even digestive issues. A lifetime habit of anger can even lead to a stroke or a heart attack. Recognize the potential to get angry and take a step back. In the old days, and if you read things like Dickens or older things, they would talk of angry people as having a choleric disposition. Rather like that description. So try to remember also that kindness is always the right option. Whatever the situation, you don't have to be untruthful or not true to yourself, but you'll never go wrong if you're kind. Kindness also makes you an inspiring leader and a role model for others. Making the choice to be kind in the face of frustration, even provocation, shows that conflict is simply not inevitable. When we give in to childish feelings of needing to be right or to get what we want all the time, That's easy, but what it does is breeds discontent, and it doesn't win you any friends. Kindness breeds a more detached attitude to life. It encourages positive emotions and will help to make you and the people around you calmer, happier, and more energized. I find all of these kinds of thoughts very helpful to bear in mind. So now that I've finished chatting about my serious or hopefully uplifting thing for the day, I'm back to talking about the colouring. And with these little flying blossoms, is what I think they are, I'm using gel pens again, my favourite jelly rolls. I try a few other things as well, but I seemed to go back to my jelly rolls. I'm now going to speed this video up a little bit, and I wish you would tell me whether you like it when the video is speeded up, or if you prefer a slightly longer video with colouring in real time. I just don't want to make the video too long, so I'm going to speed it up slightly, not zoomy fast, but a little bit faster, and I'm going to put some music on for you to relax with and to enjoy. So now I'm wondering how many of you recognized that guitar solo. This is music that I have a subscription to Epidemic Sound with. And I was quite tickled when I was looking for music to put on this video. That's from an old English nursery rhyme. Have you seen the Muffin Man? Have you seen the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man, the Muffin Man. How many of you remember that? It really brought back some old days to me. My grandparents and my aunt used to play the piano, and we always sang nursery rhymes. And of course, I sang them to my own children. I wonder if kids listen to those nursery rhymes today still. So, as you can see, I've been doing first coat with watercolor pencils and then activated them all with water. And now I'm doing some filling in with normal pencils, mostly Crayola with 1 or 2 Prismacolors and the odd jelly roll, just adding brightness. And it's so much quicker than having to do the whole thing from scratch. Find that the watercolor fills in the tooth. Once you activate it with water, it fills in the tooth on that paper, and so there's not so much white to have to get going. I wasn't quite sure, I must admit, about the yellow that I chose for this vessel or vase or whatever the thing is that the plants are in, but I chose it, and so I went with it. And I tried to do just bits here and there to add shading and make it stand out a bit more. So now I'm going to add some more music for you. Well, the birds are certainly quite noisy today, and we're finally reaching the end of this video. I'm just going over some of the blue bits with a Prismacolor pencil, and I'm sorry this little bit is just a bit off screen, but we come into focus again quite soon. As you can see, I just very roughly darken up some little bits to get a bit more shading in the blue background. And I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I'd love to know if you actually got to the very end of it. If you did, please let me know. And maybe I can give you 1 or 2 coloring pages for free. I have some that I've drawn and that are available, and if you would like one, then you can let me know and we can chat, and maybe you'll send me your email and I can send you a coloring page. So thank you very much for watching this video. I do hope that you've enjoyed it, and I thank you very much for joining me and watching it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So have a great day and enjoy your coloring to the max. It's such a fun hobby to have. We will finally see the completed image in a minute or 2. It's very difficult to decide when you're actually finished with something, but I'm just zooming out a bit, and there's the completed image, and I'm fairly happy with that. I think it turned out okay. Goodbye now, and thank you for watching. Cheers.